First,
Yes.
refresh me. Which of our presidential candidates have said that they would pardon Ramos and Company?
I don't think there's any of them that said they would pardon him. If they are, I'm not aware of it. That might be a big question. I mean, if someone would come out and say that, but I do not have knowledge that anyone has said that they would actually pardon him.
I'm assuming Tancredo. I'm assuming Duncan Hunter, and I'm assuming Ron Paul.
I'm assuming that would be a very good case. I personally hold out that the next president won't have to deal with this. Either they won. I do not believe they will be out of prison by new trial by then, because I don't think that will happen. I'm still holding that maybe George will pardon him on the way out the door.
Not only
Maybe
that,
that
but
we can.
somebody needs to file charges on something.
Well, he does have some immunity, though, and that does create some issues. But they certainly
Doesn't have
could.
immunity to violate the Constitution.
But he don't have immunity to violate the Constitution. I think if that would happen, it would have to be something after he leaves
What I
office.
can't figure out is what type of idiots convicted this man for a procedure that was taught in his academy.
A Austin jury did, and there was a reason why they moved the case to Austin.
People's Republic of Austin.
The People's Republic of Austin. That's correct. Yes, sir.
Doesn't this thing sort of stink with bribery in high places?
I think it stinks with a lot of things in high places. I don't think there's any doubt that these guys were not prosecuted for anything about what they've done. They were prosecuted for what their prosecution could achieve. And what I believe their prosecution achieved for several months along the border was basically hands off by the United States Border Patrol. And even to this day, I just recently returned, me and Brian did, from Laredo 2 weeks ago after doing a security operation down there, and was told by Border Patrol agents a number of times that it did affect them. And even to this day, the old timers will tell you it's not the same as it used to be. It had a dramatic effect on the way Border Patrol agents react along the border.
They're scared to do their job.
They're scared to do their job. There's no doubt about that. And then in some cases, local law enforcement is scared to do their job in that region of the area. Now, bear in mind, they will do their job and they'll show up in great forces. Me and Brian got the opportunity to observe when we was in downtown Laredo watching people enter the country. Border Patrol scored on us, thinking that we were illegal, I guess. And man, they responded with machine guns. The whole thing came out. You would think we was at war. With the response to us in downtown Laredo, you ask yourself how anybody ever gets into the country. But when you get out into rural areas, they're massive, and you'll have one agent. The night before that incident, we were out in the rural areas, and we seen one agent the whole night over a 44-mile stretch of highway. So it really just depends on where you are. I believe I seen your hand. Yes, sir.
Why wasn't the appeal for Mr. Brugman, why wasn't that pursued before he went to prison? With all these procedural issues,
there was a number of procedural issues, not only in the Brugman case, but also in the Hernandez case, and also in the Ramos and Capion case. A lot of the problem with both the Brugman case and the Gilmer-Hernandez case, as far as the appeal went, one was money in both individuals' cases, was the amount of money, and two was the threats. At one case, Gary Brugman talked with the prosecutor. They ran into each other in the bathroom during one of the breaks, and he said this, and he told Gary Brugman, he said, "I will," and he quotes. Now I think I have it right here someplace. Let's see where I got it. And basically what he said. Oh, here it is, right here. It is not a matter of if you're going to prison. It's a matter of how long you will spend in prison. I have been given a $50 million budget to see that occurs. And that was actually a quote from Brett Gray, which is the assistant U.S. attorney that actually prosecuted Mr. Brugman. I think that the fear of that, the lack of funds, both especially Gary Brugman, exhausted all his finances. I think that had a lot to do with it. Plus the threat that if you appeal, if you're going to appeal this, that you may get even more time. I think had a lot to do with it. We certainly know that came into play in the Gilmer-Hernandez case, where they actually threatened that in an appeal, should he get found guilty in the appeal, he would get much more time than in his case the 13 months that he was sentenced.
Do they have a record of that other than one-on-one
Well, as all of us know,
you could replace any kind of attorney with. Even
I think
talking
attorneys
to
could make some difference, but as we all know, plea bargains and discussions of plea bargains is not is not, you can't present those in court, whether it's a plea bargain for less time, more time, or something of that sort. Plea bargains are off the table when it actually comes to being in the trial itself. But I would assume there's probably records of all of that. We know that there's records of this stuff in the Gilmore Hernandez case about whether or not he would appeal or not because of the possibility of longer time. Yes.
So now the Mexicans know, the crossers know that we can't fire on them unless they fire on us first. They know that, and now they know we can't even tackle them. So, I mean, it's just...
Well, the number of complaints...
Excuse me, Curtis, those two yesterday that were killed by the man that pulled his gun out, those two robbers, both of them were illegals.
Yes, they were.
The only ID they had on them was from Colombia and I think it was the Dominican Republic. Both of them were illegals, and that poor man now, they're going to try to really hang him for stopping those robbers.
Yeah, he's in a tough situation there because of the 911 tape. They were illegal. I was informed of that just a few minutes before I got here.
They were illegals.
He probably did not know at the time. That's a tough case. It's going to be it's going to challenge the new Castle Doctrine, I will assure you. And so we may get some results very early on how much or how strong that doctrine really is in his particular case. I did see the poll results that was ran by the radio station before I got here. 77% approved of his actions. So that may work in his favor, but you never know what a jury will do, and certainly don't know what a grand jury will do, because as you noticed, the district attorney did not immediately file charges or immediately decline charges. He immediately turned it over to the grand jury. And anytime you see a prosecutor immediately turn something over to the grand jury, that means he wants hands off. He's scared of it. He don't want to fight this out. He don't want to be on the side of this guy against gun activists on one side, or on the opposite side on their side. So he just turned it over to the grand jury, and we all know you can indict a ham sandwich. So I certainly expect him to be indicted. I'll be surprised if he's not, but the court case is a whole different program. Yes, sir.
Isn't someone or a group trying to raise some money to buy a tool franchise?
That is for Gary Brugman, and I believe that case, that process is still going on. As far as I know, you can go to the U.S. Border Watch website. There's a connection there. You can go to Gary Brugman's website, and I believe that's GaryBrugman.com. You can get information on it there. All proceeds that come into that program goes directly to him. There is no money taken off the top by anyone. That was basically brought and helped bring forward by Ed Hendy over at KSEV, and as y'all all know, Ed and Pat Gray and in some cases Dan Patrick's really pushed this forward to keep it in the forefront. I know they're not here, but I certainly thank them for their efforts, because they have helped. They've managed to keep that in the forefront and applied a lot of direct help to Gary. Financially, Gary's probably the one that's affected most financially. They all have been devastated, but he's got less family than the others have. He's probably the one that's been hurt the most. Been a lot of help from people like yourself for all the families.